Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode Minkus of Check the Wire. Super excited to dial in today.
It's gotta be, is it 20, 25, 26?
You know what? I flipped the screen, so I didn't reveal our private Discord. It is episode 25, the quarter century. It's 25. What was the sigh for?
The size for you revealing the private Discord.
No. I said I switched the screen, so I didn't show our private Discord.
This is why I'm paranoid about internet security, because it's like quarantine. Everybody you let into your internet security bubble, you're exposed to their level of risk, not your own level of risk.
No. I risked the production value of the show. I put up an indiscriminate image, so I wouldn't, because I know that, look, out of if we're on the scale of cyber security, I would say you're like a 9 to 10, and I'm probably like a 5 to 4. So
I think I'm a 5 and you're like a 2. Not to be insulting, but I think there are people that go way higher than me. But I will say I think you're a 2, and I think most of the population is a 1. So
well, I'll
give you that.
I'm very aware of my surroundings. Like when it comes to you, if I'm like I'm streaming with you, I'm like, all right, super careful. I don't want it. You know, it's check the wire for a reason. It's not reveal the entire wire.
Right. Yeah.
So
just dip your toe in the wire.
Yeah. Just
you don't get to take a big glug.
It's like this. It's in one of those movies. I don't know what movie it was, but some guy takes off 2 rubber shoes and puts them on his hands, and there's like a live electric wire jumping all over, and he grabs the electric wire with the rubber shoes. You ever saw that movie or no?
I don't think I've seen that one, but
don't try it. But the theory is rubber deflates electricity or something.
Right, yeah.
Anyways, would that, I mean, you're the science guy, would that work?
Would it work to catch a bolt of electricity between 2 rubber shoes?
No, a live down electric wire. And then,
and then she uses it to grab the wire.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work, but I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not for being a science guy. That's kind of, we didn't really cover that in physics class, whether a power main that was severed could be defeated by 2 Crocs. I don't know. Well, I honestly don't know.
Well, the moral of the story is, if you don't know, don't touch a live wire. If a downed wire, just don't even touch it.
Call somebody.
So that being said, tell me what's good in the world of outside Orion business world?
It's I mean, we've been talking about it for a few weeks, but just keeping working a lot, but also drawing boundaries about where the work is going to start and stop. So I think I've had a good amount of free time. I've had a good amount of working time, and I'm being very productive. We got our nursery all set up, so we are pretty much at this point, I think if labor happened 10 minutes from now, we would be fine.
You're locked and loaded. You're good. Do you have the bag packed? The pre-bag?
Oh my God. For the hospital? No.
Yeah.
But but I don't know. What do you need in the backpack? You get a couple of water bottles, a towel, cell phone charger.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife packed it. She just pointed the location. She's like, when it's time, grab this. And also, you've been plugged into the NHL. I've been seeing you tweeting a lot of names. I'm like, I don't know any of these NHL players, but I know you're into it.
Well, here's how how invested I am in Check the Wire. The Canucks game is literally 23 minutes from now.
Okay. Well,
and we're gonna keep it dialed on the podcast. I'm not gonna. You might hear some shouting from the other room if Kate decides to watch it. I'm not sure.
Is she big in the Canucks? By proxy,
I would say so. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. All right, so we're gonna jump right into it, to W's and L's of the week. I want to, dude, I'm feeling it. This may be the only time. It's taken 25 episodes to catch me in some kind of way. I think you catch me in some kind of way today.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that I'm feeling a little bit on the ropes. Normally I'm in the middle of the ring throwing punches, and I'm on the ropes a little bit, man. And it's rare, but I'm gonna hit you with the reels. YouTube, I spend a lot of time on, and granted, it's been a little bumpy lately, but my number 1 series, Spelunky, has gotten severed. It's 50% of what it was 2 weeks ago. And
really?
I'm at the point now where I'm and we've talked about this before. I look at YouTube not as a loss leader, but as a necessary thing to have. but I put so much time into it. I'm starting to like, do the numbers, and I'm like, man, is this the best I can do? And if so, is this the best usage of time? Meaning that so much so that today, Thursdays are supposed to be an off stream day, but if I can go live, I'll go live on Thursday. But I didn't go live so I could record videos that are getting half the views they normally did.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's where I'm at. And I'm like really doing a self-evaluation. Like, what am I doing here? And I don't have an answer. But like, that's where I'm at. And I was like recording a video right before this, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like on the YouTube side of things, I don't have an answer. Give me some insight, because you're the machine.
Yeah, I mean, I think it happens all the time. Is the kind of hand wavy answer to it? I would say, I mean, so Jesse Cox made a tweet like 3 days ago or something like that. He was talking about let's play style content on YouTube and how like inevitably you get diminishing returns at some point. And I'll say to you what I said to him, which is, I think that series that end up being evergreen are like 1 in a billion, basically, right? Like I really can't think of anything except for maybe like Minecraft, Isaac, and even Isaac people burned out on for sure. And I guess like League of Legends, like stuff like that. So I think like to rationalize it, I think like once you hit the point where you're in Spelunky, where you've gotten all the achievements, which you've done, inevitably there's kind of like a viewership fall off. But like the broader question of like, is it worth spending your time on YouTube when you could be spending it on Twitch? I think the answer varies person to person. Like there are definitely months. I mean, like let me put it this way. There are half hours of time on YouTube where I've recorded like episode 1 of XCOM, or like a Let's Look At or a Northernlion tries that went nuclear. And you can't get that kind of exposure on Twitch just by being live for half an hour. But at the same time, if you get to the point, I guess, where you're like, hey, I got like it's like my 20th Trackmania track of the day. It's Spelunky 94, and then it's like Neon Abyss 63. Like you do recognize like, hey, like in June I was making this much with the same amount of work, and now it's August and I'm getting blown out. So I mean I've definitely been there, but I guess my advice is twofold. One is there probably is a case economically for doing way more Twitch and way less YouTube, for a lot of people. And we've talked about before the positives and negatives of YouTube. So the negative of not doing it is you kind of lose out on like a huge pool, and it's a place where people go to passively watch you, and you don't actually have to be live to be doing your job. So I would say that's one thing, is it's worth considering.
This feels like YouTube therapy, but I'm glad. I need this. I need this, doctor. Like I need it.
And then the other thing is, I think, and I said this in my tweet to Jesse Cox as well, which is like, I think sometimes, some series just work better on Twitch than on YouTube. So I don't think like with Spelunky, for example, and this is just theory crafting.
Yeah.
On YouTube, I think eventually people will be like, I don't really want to watch. Less people will be like, I want to watch this next 40 minutes of Spelunky when you've already done everything. But on Twitch, if you pull it out for like an hour here and there, people will always be like, okay, I'm pretty interested in watching this. So I think there's some stuff that works better on Twitch than YouTube. And honestly, I think like anything long, like anything story driven, anything you're planning on playing for like hundreds and hundreds of episodes, I think tends to work better on Twitch. And then special stuff tends to work better on YouTube, like mixing it up, like Golden Goblet style stuff, just adding any kind of envelope to make it more interesting for people to watch, I think is what you can do about that. But it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I think this is too. I mean, like I'm playing into it a little bit, maybe too much, but like this is the longest we've gone without recording a Check the Wire, just because the way scheduling worked out. But But I really, I mean, like you're saying a lot of stuff that we both believe in, but just to hear it is a little bit different. But for me, it's like, all right, so I think I think in my head what the problem is. I see this column of just like consistent the same time every day, but not really looking at, okay, hey, you're doing that, but can you maybe instead of having a column of bricks there, you make it a column of stone? And it's just like, so just like, I think I'm just so marred to the idea of like, there's been 136 days of Spelunky in a row, and like to end it, it's like, you know, it doesn't mean anything to, I mean, it means something to end it, but the 136 days, if it's not working anymore, you know, it's just,
I mean, 100%. I've been in that position that you're in right now for like 12 months at a time, and I'll probably be in it again at some point. Where like, I mean, I've said it before, but in like 2018, 2019, channel was basically like Isaac, Slay the Spire, one other thing daily. So if you like, a lot of people had burned out on Isaac. Isaac's had like I don't know if I call it a renaissance, but like a dead cat bounce lately, as it's getting like a little bit more attention for whatever reason. And then, you know, but back then people were not necessarily super invested. They were heavily burnt out. And then, you know, Slay the Spire, a lot of people watch one episode and they're like, I don't really like cards. And then you're 700 episodes later, those people are just out, right? So there have been definitely times in the past where I look at it and I'm like, man, I'm working like I'm burnt out on YouTube, and it's not moving the needle. And then on Twitch, I'm having a lot of fun, and it's bringing in like 80% of the no. Yeah, exactly. And you're like, I'm not even doing anything.
let me go out, because you talked about like kind of the just dark ages for Isaac. When you hit that where you're like, okay, you're grinding, the numbers for you are like, all right, they're still strong enough. Was there any part where you're like, hey, it's time to eat it? Or you're just like, it's been so long, it's like a hamburger at the restaurant, you can't take it off the menu? Did you ever consider eating it?
I think it's a balance thing. I think if you had told me in 2018 or 2017 that the Isaac DLC wouldn't come out until maybe like 2021, I probably would have not done it in that interim period, or at least not done it as regularly. But I guess I kind of see it like when you run on the treadmill. If you normally run like 5K and you're like, oh, today I'm going to run 20K, you'd be like, absolutely not. That's going to, you know, kill me. But if you're on the treadmill and you're like, oh, I just need to run another 30 seconds. And then when you hit that 30 seconds, you're like, I'm just going to keep going for another 30 seconds. It's a little easier to rationalize it. And then like, I mean, Isaac's doing okay. There's never been a time where Isaac was like what was in the moment dragging the channel down. There's probably an argument that like from a big picture standpoint, being quote unquote the Isaac guy had people subscribe, and then when they stopped liking Isaac, they're like, well, this is all this guy does, so he's gone. But that's like, it's a different question, I suppose. But definitely like it has that, and Slay the Spire going for so long kind of re-business sized my philosophy on YouTube to some extent, where I was like, I can have that consistency every day. You know, I can have an Isaac episode every day, and I can have like a mid-length series running every day, but I can't have everything be every day. So instead of having like, hey, we're going to do Isaac, we're going to do Slay the Spire, and we're going to be playing Subnautica or something, it really has to be like Isaac, Slay the Spire, and then the third one has to be something that has a chance to get some refresh, like some new blood coming in. So I think if you just, I have long been a guy that's like, the more content you can make on YouTube, the better it is. But I do think that if you have the choice between making content that is, you know, consistent and easy to make, but maybe not that mass appeal, and content that's a little bit more sizzly, like a highlight compilation or something like that, or a good edited video, like I think that's where the leverage point is, where you can apply some pressure and do better on YouTube than you can on Twitch.
I'll tell you, there's a moment when you're saying that, like, and it's not like me, but something got in the cracks where, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what it was. But so last week I was streaming with Grand Pooh Bear. I'm like, hey, how's your YouTube channel? Like, he does really well. Like, you know, his videos get like 50 to 100K a pop. And I'm like, hey, what's your philosophy behind YouTube? He's like, I don't know. Someone else just edits and runs it for me. I'm like, so you do no extra, I mean, like, no extra work. I mean, he didn't say it like that, but pretty much, like, you know, he's got really good editors. They're on the same page, but like, he does essentially no extra work, and it pops off. And like, I let that creep in my head. Like, the big thing for me is not to compare, right? Like, don't compare me internally, me to you, where you're at, or me to, and but I can't get over that. I'm like, here's a guy who streams, has a great stream, great show, and then it's ported over to YouTube. Granted, it's Mario Maker. That's what he's known for. It's in his wheelhouse, and it kills it. So I'm like, there's something to that for me, because I will never stop YouTube. But it's just finding, like what you said, having like, okay, a consistency, but also like, and I think that's what I wrote down. You're saying like having something consistent, but having something that can pop with it. And right now, looking self-analyzing, I don't really have that.
I mean, like the case study for me, and I agree 100%. And also, I'm jealous of Grand Poobah. That seems that's like the dream, right? That you basically outsource and offload your entire YouTube workflow. And the thing is,
and it pogs every video.
The thing is, when I was editing or when I was like making Mario Maker videos, or I was streaming Mario Maker stuff and then porting it over to Twitch, I would always look. I'd be like, how do I rank in the search rankings? And it was like I got crushed every time. Even if the views were pretty good because they were, I've got a decent subscriber base that likes watching that stuff. If you search like Mario Maker or Super Mario Maker 2, it was just like everything Grand Pooh Bear's ever published. And then everything Trihex has ever published. And then, so whoever is handling like the back end of that stuff is doing an amazing job on the SEO or on however they're getting that engagement. It's crazy. I can't compete. Monster Train, I'm blowing everybody else out of the water, so I'll put my effort there for now.
But it's so just, and I think that's like, it's just a good reset of like, just, and I feel like that's why it's important to have like some principles, or like, all right, hey, look, I let that creep in, but at the same time, I think it's like you said, like taking a look at like a case study in terms of, all right, that's working, so how can you find some amalgamation of that, and so I don't know, but I think it's good. And like I said, in 25 episodes, I feel like this is the first time where I've gotten the point where like, I'm a little beat up, because even with Spelunky, and I want to keep going back to it, like I love it. It's not that I don't like the videos, but it's like I enjoy playing the game, but it's like, hey, maybe time to wrap it up. And as much as it's just not, I feel like it's the opposite. We talk about when it's time to kill a series, and you're like, yeah, this one stinks, it's time to cut it, and you're like, sorry to everyone. But this one, it's like everyone's telling you, yeah, it stinks, and I gotta tell myself, man, I gotta let it go. So but yeah, so I'd say that was a definite, a big L, but at the same time, just working through it. But what do you got on your L or W side?
Well, let's I'm trying to think. Probably like and this ties into the other thing I put on the sheet for us, but I think the win of this week is definitely like the launch of Fall Guys, which was just like, it's and I'm gonna be hesitant about the way that I phrase this. I was on the Fall Guys train early. I'm not disappointed that the game has hit an insane level of critical mass where everybody's playing it. I think it's awesome, and the game has such a wide appeal, or such a huge amount of broad appeal, rather, that I thought it was kind of like inevitable. But I had basically, like at E3 last year, saw this and I was like, I'm going to play the crap out of that, assuming it's not a complete disaster. So I think it's just one of those win-wins that happens, I don't know, maybe like once or twice a year, where like your level of interest for something as a creator is high, and then like the audience level of interest in the game is high, and then it's like the unicorn, right? Because people actually like watching it. It's not like, Divinity, everyone's like I like playing it and people love the game, but when it comes to actually watching it, people are like, I don't really know if like what's happening. But Fall Guys is like entertaining to watch. There's an appetite to watch it. And like, honestly, I'm kind of trying to sell you here. In terms of videos, you can get 2 full games of Fall Guys in 20 minutes. So in terms of work efficiency, it's like off the charts right now.
Well, I keep getting recommended in my feed. Your first look at had like 90K when I, maybe a day or two ago when I saw it. So on YouTube, you're seeing, is it a series for you, or what are you doing for it on YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of in that we ended up with a little extra time this week because of the fact that we're not doing the Golden Goblets. So I had the ability to, put that time elsewhere, and I put it into Fall Guys for now. But, depending, I do think it's one of those things that if I'm looking like beyond the short term, I do think the appetite for it is going to fall off pretty quickly, because eventually, there's only like 12 games or something like that, and you're going to get sick of them. And then secondarily, there's kind of like the drama gets sucked out once you get some wins. When you're searching for that first win, everybody's hungry. This could be the one. If you win like 2 times in 2 videos, people are like, okay, I get it. He wins. You know, it's not as exciting, I guess. But I think for now, it's like the moment, like it's having a moment right now is the best way to describe it. So I think being able to pivot and do a little content for that this week was a win for sure.
I think you wrote a really good narrative in terms of like, hey, it's a challenge, get your first win, and then maybe you rock it to sleep, maybe you don't. And my only exposure to is we played it on Tuesday, and I think it's a really interesting game and it's fun. But my take on it is like how long you think this thing can last? Like it's like I enjoyed it and it was fun, but I'm like, you know, how 8 hours? Like
I think
I don't get.
the ecosystem now is like you're not just competing with other creators for like viewership, but it's like a time thing. And I don't know. I feel like YouTube is like, when you light a candle, sometimes it takes a while to like burn out. Now that Twitch is here, it's like an empty bottle of grain alcohol. Yeah, like as soon as the game comes out, it's like people have streamed it for 20 hours in the first 36 hours of it existing, and then a certain proportion of your audience has watched all of it, and they're like, they come over to your stream and they're like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but here's how you win every single game immediately. So I think that definitely the ecosystem is that the appetite kind of diminishes faster. And I actually I think Fall Guys is really fun. I think it's really good. But I do think, not to say that they botched the launch, but I think that everybody had the expectation that post the technical tests, they would have new games in the game. And then when it launched and it kind of had the same games, you're like, I kind of thought there was going to be like a new injection here. And then like a couple of the games are like, I don't really need to see Perfect Match, the game where you jump on the fruit pictures anymore, because literally 99% of the people in the game make it through every single time. But I think that it is. I'm trying to think. Like I think Neon Abyss had a moment too. I think like around like the 4 or 5 days when it came out, people were like, "This is not to say that now people don't like it, but when it came out, it was kind of like the level of interest, if you were looking on the graph, was like it broke the y-axis, right? So I think it happens from time to time, but I do think Fall Guys has such a critical like groundswell. Like the magnitude of it is just something you don't see all that often.
Well, and that's what I've been a little bit, not a blind eye to it, but I haven't been keeping up with the numbers. I might have saw a tweet from Devolver. Was it the #1 game on Twitch, or am I making that up?
It's been the #1 game on Twitch a couple of times, and it's been the #1 top seller on Steam. I don't know since launch, but definitely around its launch window. And then it's also free on PS Plus. So it's like if you want the game, you have access to the game, assuming you have a PS4. But a lot of people are buying it on PC as well. So like, I mean, it's one of those things I expected to kind of be like, not niche, but like one level above niche. But like instead, it's one of the most played games on Steam right now.
So you're saying like at least for like a glimpse in time, you're not saying the longevity of Fortnite, but it has like, it's like Fortnite numbers right now, whether it can hold it. Okay.
I mean, and I also think, I don't know, like this is more of like a games industry thing, but I'm like, I don't think it needs longevity in the sense that like someone could make that their main game and be like, I'm a Fall Guys streamer. I think that's a recipe for building your whole life on a house of cards. Like, and this is not to insult Fall Guys, eventually they're going to add more content. But how much content would they need to add for somebody to play it for 200 hours? They would need to like quintuple the amount of content that's in the game, right? Which is unlikely. But I think it actually has awesome longevity if you look at it from the perspective of like a Mario Party or something like that. Something that you don't play 10 hours a day, and then it came out August 4th, and on August 18th, you're like, I hate it, even though I dedicated my last 2 weeks to it. It's something that you could play maybe like once a week for an hour and not be sick of it, because it's ponged up every time.
It's like it's on the appetizer shelf, and it's probably the best appetizer you're ever gonna have. But if you eat it every day, you're like, I don't really like chicken noodle soup anymore. Mm-hmm. But I mean, and I said this during a Unity. If you were to design a perfect 1-hour segment game for the NLSS, if you get viewer involvement in there and you lock in your 4 guests into a game, I mean, I can you think of a better like POG game for the NLSS?
The only one I would say is Clubhouse. If they could put Clubhouse on PC and make all the games 4-player that are possible to be 4-player, I think it would be a dream come true.
Yeah.
But I think Fall Guys is like way up at the top as well.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. And I think the other thing that's cool to talk about Fall Guys is that anyone can watch it, whether, it's a kid, a typical person or whatever, any age, you can watch it and you can figure out what's going on within 20 seconds, maybe less than that, which I think is cool, and so I don't know. I think that's something that appealed to me that you said is like, try to go get the first W. Now you're talking my language. It's like a challenge, right? And then after I get the first W, I'll put on the hot dog suit, and then you kill the series. But I think that's good. So that was a huge W. And then I noticed, and this is like we talked about it a little bit, but to give the podcast listener some insight, like I know you're at the forefront of like, hey, the game comes out on Tuesday. We stream Unity on Tuesday. What was your thought in terms of integrating into the week? Because it wasn't just willy-nilly,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's without putting it as cynical as possible. Like, I think it's a business play for sure that you're like, and I'll actually start by illustrating the flip side. Unity gets screwed all the time because of its Tuesday position. For a year, we got screwed. We just wanted to play PUBG every week. Oh, it's maintenance. Sometimes they wouldn't even let you know it's maintenance until like an hour before. So it's definitely not like, oh, we're exclusively using Unity as a way to like leverage, and get a bunch of eyeballs. But this time I was like, hey, everybody, and if you looked at your follow directory, I'm sure it was like Fall Guys, Fall Guys, Fall Guys, Fall Guys. Everybody's going to be playing this game on Tuesday. Everybody's going to be wanting to watch this. And also the optics on Warzone were really bad because it was like the last day of season 4 and everybody's like just kind of, it's the last day of 8th grade, right? In September, you're starting a brand new experience. What are you going to do on the last day of 8th grade? Like watch Willy Wonka or something like that. So I think that it was just kind of like it was a good situation. But unfortunately, the servers went down, which kind of stopped us in our tracks a little bit. But I mean, I'm open to more stuff like that in the future for sure. I love Warzone. And as I said in the Unity channel, I would rather play like 3 or 4 or 5 hours of Warzone because I only get to do that then.
Yeah.
I don't get any other window to do that. And I think the game's amazing and the dynamic that we have is really good. Whereas Fall Guys, I'm going to be playing a ton of it. But it is like a one-shot scenario where you're like, hey, if we're ever going to do this, we should definitely do it on Tuesday because it's the right mix of like it's fresh and everybody's going to want to watch it.
Yeah. And I think I'm like, I don't want to say I wasn't open to that at all, but, the way you presented, I'm like, yeah, sounds good. And I think the fact that, and I'm definitely like open to it more in the future now because we've got kind of our baseline, right? We can always go back to our home. But if there's like one little off campsite we can visit for a week and check it out that it happens to line up, I think that's cool. It'd be different if we're like going from like Fall Guys to what's that rat game always people wants us to play with the rats.
Vermintide
to like grow the fish or what but I think it's cool and I think a lot of people were excited to see it. I mean, I know we dealt with I was looking forward to Warzone, but at the same time I think if I'm with you, I think if it lines up in the future, I think for the most part outside of the server issues it went well. And like I know, and then I was like making fun of it a little bit, but like I would have been able to do like the full show of it and had fun with it, and kind of take it from there. But so it was good. But it's interesting because my take on that is like when a new game comes out, like I have the inverse take. It's like I sometimes just think I would get buried like playing a brand new game on day one launch. But I think it's maybe you're in a different position. You're in the top 1% of Twitch, so.
I think you're in the top 1% of Twitch.
I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, but I think
I might be in the top 0.5,
but you know what I mean? Like when Elden Ring comes out, for example,
right?
Everyone's gonna be playing it, so I'm like, I don't want to get buried playing that. If that makes sense.
My hypothesis for that, I think you are 100% wrong.
Hit me.
I think the popularity of the game does not determine how well you're going to do necessarily. I think it's more about like whether the game is in the silo that you're in, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So I know like when Isaac DLC comes out, a lot of people are going to be playing it, but a lot of those people are going to be like, they might get 20,000 concurrent views on whatever they play, but I'm going to beat them on Isaac launch day in viewership because I'm like the Isaac guy. I'm in that silo. So, but like the inverse is true. Like when Ghosts of Tsushima came out, or like basically when The Last of Us 2 came out, whenever like a big, usually Sony exclusive story based game comes out, like you might look at it and be like, oh, well, if NL streams it, he's going to cannibalize like some viewers. I think it's like the exact opposite. People
What do you mean
know
by
they
cannibalize? Just
well, like, oh, he's going to soak up like so much attention in the directory that like people that are lower than him are going to have a penalty rather than a benefit for streaming it. Like, I know if I stream something like that, it's probably going to be maybe like one decent stream, and then the rest of it is not going to be good, or is actually going to be lower than like what it would be if I stream my normal stuff. And instead, people, like Co-Carnage and Lyric and other people that's their thing, is to do that, are going to skyrocket. So, like, I think that viewers, and this is just my one man's opinion, I think they have streamers essentially like siloed. So I think if you're like, oh, I normally get 900 viewers, I don't want to play Ghosts of Tsushima because on launch day, because I'm going to get buried in the directory, that might be fair. But for Elden Ring, I'm like, you're in the Souls silo. I don't, there are other people in the Souls silo who are, huge.
yeah.
And there's people in the Souls silo or at, 0. But I think if you didn't stream Elden Ring like at your first opportunity, I think it would be a missed opportunity for sure, because I think people would want to see you play that. And they, sure, some people are going to be like, well, I have the choice between watching Lobos and Man versus Game and the Happy Hob and something like that. But probably for one, a lot of people would choose you over them, and a lot of people would choose them over you just by virtue of it. But the audience of people that would be looking for Souls content around Elden Ring is going to be like 500 times bigger than it would be, on your average like Tuesday in May or something like that. So I think that it's kind of like the rising tide raises all boats, as long as you're actually in that silo. Now, if you're like, I'm normally a League streamer, but I'm going to play Elden Ring on day one, you might not get the same results.
I think if you watch the video version of the past 2 minutes, you could see someone having their mind changed through Ryan. I'm like, there's no way I'm streaming Elden Ring on launch day, or even Demon Souls. But now I'm like, dude, it makes sense. Like I think the difference is what you said, which I don't know why I didn't think about this way. Like, is the silo, right? It's the Northernlion coined the silo. I get it, and my mind was slowly, as you're talking, it's going like this because it made logical sense. I mean, like you started. I know it wasn't your intention to sway me. You're just sharing your opinion. But when you started saying like, hey, I'm going to kill everyone on Isaac Day. Well, because you are. Like, you're the guy. But
maybe not everybody, but...
I mean, I'll place 100.
I meant the non-Isaac specific streamers that go to Isaac for that day. I don't want to fire shots at Cobalt or anything like that,
No, but you're saying like, so the very large streamers that stream everything, they're going to try Isaac for a day. You think they have a chance that they may have bigger numbers you for a day, or you think you're going to raise up over them?
Over them. Like,
yeah.
I would say like 95% confidence interval. Yeah.
I would say 99.9 repeating, but no, I think that's, and that's important to understand. And I think I'm thinking of like, how can but see, and I think that where the such huge disconnect is, and you tell me if you can connect the bridge. So that makes sense on Twitch, right? Do you believe there's a gap for you in terms of like branding and on point from Twitch to YouTube?
What do you mean?
Like, so it's saying Souls silo, right? So you're Souls silo or Isaac silo. Like, do you feel like you're in the same silos on both platforms?
I would say there's a large overlap, but there's definitely some stuff that is just like a complete fart on one that does okay on the other. Like, people love watching, well, people tolerate and some enjoy watching Deadly Premonition 2 on YouTube, or on Twitch, I should say, on Sundays. And on YouTube, the VODs are like dead. They're just destroyed, right? And part of it is probably that a lot of people are watching it on Twitch, and there's not a huge audience for a game like that, right? So it's not like, oh, I meant to watch it on Sunday, but there's 500,000 people that are following along, that can't watch on. So it's not like that at all. And I'm not upset about the numbers because I already recorded the content. Like it's a win-win, even if it gets like 2 views, right? So I definitely think that happens. And then there's like the flip side of that is some of the stuff that does really well on YouTube, people do not want to see on Twitch anymore, by and large.
Like
Isaac specifically. I think for the most part, if I was like, hey, on my solo stream today, I'm going to be playing some Isaac, I think there would be a couple thousand people that were pogged out of their minds. Yeah. But I think that the overall temperature would be a little milder than usual if we were working something brand new in or something exciting in. There's definitely stuff that it would beat for sure. But in general, I don't think it's there's not a ton of overlap there necessarily.
Do you think, would it go into the realm of resident sleeper emoji spam in chat? Or no?
I think so, to some extent.
What about, okay, well, let me hit you. So Monster Hunter does extremely well on YouTube. Have you ever streamed Monster Hunter?
So I have.
You want to keep your sanity alive, so you don't.
Well, there's elements of that for sure, but like Monster Train does well on YouTube. Yeah, Monster Train does well on YouTube, but it also does well on Twitch. The harder part of Monster Train, and this kind of like loops into my L of the week, so I'll pivot off of it a little bit. But like it was spoilers for people who actually care about this stuff, but like I beat Monster Train's final Covenant rank, which is like the super hard mode, like a week and a half ago. And I've had like an insane backlog, right? So I've found myself with 7 to 10 hours a week of extra stuff where I can actually fit in new content, maybe. And I've been trying to do I'm like, man, I'd like to keep Monster Train around. People like watching it. I really don't want to do any more hard stuff in Monster Train because the environment is a little acerbic. And I also feel like there's ways that you can kind of get off of I'm the analytical brain Northernlion right now and get into like more entertainment. So if anything, my L of the week is that I haven't found the time or opportunity to start contacting other people to do maybe like some Monster Train multiplayer, which I think would be really cool. So that's where I'm like, I think I've been a little lazy on pivoting into like some projects that actually have a little bit more like mass appeal, if that makes sense. Like I have the opportunity to take an hour a day, or maybe let's say like 40 minutes a day, and instead of it being like me beating my head against the wall over and over trying to beat this hard thing, instead, maybe like me and another person who's played Monster Train, and we could rotate a lot, play the multiplayer mode. That's like you get 4 minutes per floor, and best of luck to you. So
that reminds me of a series you did. Didn't you do Hearthstone like that on your channel?
Yeah, with you.
No, but you did with someone else too. Didn't you do a bunch of rotating Hearthstone people, or no? Am I just making that up?
A long time ago, Josh did as well when he was like on YouTube. He did a week of where he played like 7 different people.
I don't know. I thought you did something like that. Maybe
I played a few for sure.
On like I'm saying like like in the beta or alpha. Did you do that for beta, whatever the first iteration?
Yeah, I did a couple of videos with TB, I think. Okay.
That's might be what I thought about.
That was like 2013. It was a long time ago.
So was that the rest of your L?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, really, like I've had a little to condense the L. I've had a little time where I definitely could be like, let's accelerate, and instead I've just been coasting. Let's record another Isaac. Let's record another Fall Guys and make the backlog bigger instead of like, hey, we could really maybe with a little bit of extra elbow grease, we might be able to get something that appeals to more people.
Got it. So this correlates to my W of the week because you talked about 2013. I had to fire up Skype yesterday. I opened up Skype and like there's all these conversations, and I clicked on our conversation and it said something like, when do you think the last time we spoke on Skype was?
It's maybe like the summer of 2017.
June 21st, 2018. It feels
really?
Feels like it was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was like 2 years ago. And I was like just scrolling back and look at some of the stuff, and it's like, man, this is like, it's kind of like not history, but just like a lot of stuff archived of, prior to Discord. Like, I mean, I don't, have you logged into Skype lately?
No, so here's I was using Discord for like 2 or 3 years, right? And then we were doing, it might have even been during Unity once, but we were playing PUBG, and I got a call on Skype randomly from like nobody. So then I like scrubbed it. It was not enough to just keep it closed. I was like, this is gonna be obliterated. And then I did the same thing on this new PC when I set it up.
Oh, all right. So I didn't even have, like, I guess Skype comes pre-installed now. I never installed it, which is crazy. But anyway, so I guess my W of the week was like separating and embracing kind of, the cross section of gaming and Big Brother, right? So normally during this time, I'll get some requests to like do interviews for Big Brother, and I'm always like a little bit hesitant because I'm like, I spent so many years not distancing. I don't want to say distancing, but just building the other side. And this time I'm like, you know what? Just do it. So I did an interview, and I sent you a message on the Canadian morning show, which is bizarre in its own right. But I'm like, okay, like I want to do this, have fun with it, but also just find like a little sliver, like not hijack the interview, but just a little sliver to just say, hey, like I'm on Twitch too. So I'm like, I'm embracing the more Big Brother stuff, I think. And this season's a little bit different because I have a friend in the game.
Yeah.
But just kind of like really not worrying about people coming in the chat saying, hey, what's going on, Big Brother? And just kind of enjoying it. Where I think before I was always like, separation, none of that. So that's been a W, and I feel like pretty like good about it, and I don't want to say at peace with it, but it's kind of like I don't know, I feel like the faster on YouTube and Twitch you can just fully be yourself, I feel like the better you do it. And that's such a big part of my history. It's been cool. Nothing's gonna change. Like I'm not gonna start doing Big Brother live streams or podcasts, but it's been cool. So I've really kind of taken to that, and also just trying to find a different approach of like people coming in and asking about it. I'm like, these people either they've been on Twitch or they signed up for an account to chat. I'm like, well, it's like an opportunity to maybe just introduce them to Twitch, whether my channel or not, but not necessarily like, and I think the community's done a really good job of not like saying like, oh, like, because people will still come in. Like I had a rerun going today, and people came in and like, hey, you're going to be on All Stars, right? And like, it was nice to not see the community just be like, yes, Kappa. They were, so I'd say that was like a rare win that I was able to kind of find a way to bridge that. Now, was there any, is it, I would guess though, like an interview like that has the same appeal of us. I'd say maybe even less appeal than us posting on TikTok, right? We always talk about like, what are the numbers of conversions, or getting people to go from TikTok to Twitch. That's probably in the same realm of single digits.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Canadian morning show. I mean, you were like, I'm going to be on at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I was like, I can't. Come on. That's 6 a.m. Pacific. I'm going to wake up. I'll just catch the video.
I thought Kate might have been awake,
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think it's good. And I think I would, I never really followed your participation in the Big Brother community, post being on the show. But I think maybe that's because you didn't really talk about it all that much, especially when the seasons weren't running.
Yeah.
But for this one, I don't know. I've kind of noticed you were in the mix as far as rumors go, but you've also kind of like, the word I was going to use is weaseled, which is not really the connotation that I mean, but you kind of like wormed your way out of that. And now you're like an elder statesman of Big Brother. You're like a thought leader in the Big Brother community, which I imagine is probably a nicer position to be in, where you don't have to get down in the muck of making like drama bait tweets on Twitter to stay relevant. And instead people are like, oh, we have great memories of this guy and I like him. So you can kind of like interface with the community in a nice way, instead of it always having to be like, I don't know, like a fight in a phone booth, you
Yeah,
know?
I'm slightly resentful for weaseling my way. I didn't to weasel out of something means you had to weasel into something. There was no weaseling in. There was just merely I painted a picture of maybe a field of weasels, but I wasn't necessarily
Sure, yeah, I understand.
wasn't necessarily in there. So that was the W, and but I'm with you on that. It's like, and I tried to, and I think you probably have the same thing. I think maybe as we get older, we just realize the importance of maybe putting more good stuff out there than adding. But I feel like you've always had that take. I've never looked at than adding like flame or fuel to drama online, but you've always had that take online. I can't remember, and I'm sure someone will probably pull it up in the chat. I can't remember I've ever seen like a bad natured drama inducing tweet from you. I've seen you poke in the bear and maybe like NLS but maybe NLSS like fun banter rivalries, but I've never seen you be like, oh, I can't believe this is going on, what could you imagine that this person dropped a kappa in this person's chat or something like that.
I mean, my philosophy on that is like, if you are gonna be like into drama, like I hope you're profiting off of it, because it seems like it sucks a lot. If is all I'm gonna say. So if you're like a guy who's like, oh, I'm like feasting on the drama, I'm making content based on the drama, then whatever. Like I get it. I kind of, it's not for me, but I get it. But when like people that are streamers have like an interpersonal dispute and air it out on Twitter, I'm like, it's a lose-lose. You really like, you have a dispute privately between two people, you really want 100,000 people who have no context or idea of what's happening to weigh in with their opinion? With like, it's just seems like insanity to me, and I think it makes everybody involved in the dispute feel a lot worse about it, quite frankly.
And you forgot to say, and then bring it up in your Twitch chat every 2 minutes when you're live.
Yeah, for the next 10 years. Yeah, exactly.
So, but but I don't know, and I feel like you kind of get what you put out. At the same time, you track that kind of stuff, it happens, and then the flip side, you put that stuff out, and I think both of our communities are example. A lot of things have been moving, and I think both of our communities, I'll speak for yours too, like when you go there, it's pretty much a positive time. You're not going to see a ton of that stuff, and I'm with you. I got nothing against the other side of things, but if you are in that, I hope you're securing the bag, if you're talking.
I mean, I can't imagine, man.
Because you're in it. Oh, that's a whole different story. Anyways, we're gonna take a few live Q&As as we wrap up here, not only because it's been a good episode, but also because the Canucks are through the first period. Totally joking. All right, so we're gonna take I'm gonna take one off from Twitter while a couple live one comes in. This one says, oh, this is interesting. This is from D Riza. It says, in what scope do you two recognize this quote unquote success you have outside of the North American region? I'm from Germany, and for example, I'm grateful for every piece of content you and the whole NLSS circle produces for you to enjoy. So, question is, how much do you recognize the success you have outside the North America region?
I definitely recognize it, and the merch really drove it home, which I know is frustrating because, like, if you lived in the EU or anywhere overseas, it took forever to get there. But that's an aside. Seeing people that are like, hey, my merch arrived in like Sweden, my merch arrived in Croatia and stuff like that, it really kind of, it brings it home. And even like I look at the analytics from time to time, and the US is always like 45% of the total viewership, but it's always surprising to me that oftentimes like 2 to 5, Canada's in there and like the UK is in there, but then Germany is right up there. And the secondary thing, it always makes me feel bad about being just completely monolingual. Like I can't imagine watching somebody in like a foreign language talk as fast as I talk and then being like, I got most of that. So if anything, it's kind of a sobering realization that especially Europe, is a little bit more, I don't want to say culture, but you know what I mean, learned when it comes to speaking multiple languages. So it's very flattering for sure.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. On Wednesdays, I do this thing on the Twitch shows where you at Wednesdays, people can check in and light up the map where they're from. And it really, like, after the first couple times doing it, I was really surprised, like, the UK in particular and the surrounding countries. I'm like, man, like, and I was trying to, like, pieces, like, people are watching this right now as they're getting home from work. You know, they're having their fish and chips or whatever they're eating. But just to see, like, the UK presence, you know, that's... You know, it's I don't take it lightly. I think it's pretty cool.
You know, that's the other thing I forgot to mention, because I actually agree. If somebody watches me like in the time zone where I watch things, I'm like, it's flattering. Don't get me wrong. You got a million choices. When someone is watching me at like a time that makes no logical sense for you to be watching, that's like the best compliment of all time. Somebody's like, hey, I'm in Australia right now. Great show. And I'm like, it's like 5 a.m. What are you doing? So that's a lot of pressure on me to provide like a really great piece of entertainment, because of the fact that you're like, I don't know, would you wake up early or stay up late for this? This is, that's a lot.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if, and I'm sure you read it from time to time, but so, like, I think on Wednesday, I saw a few Twitch messages that says, hey, either for the Sekiro debut, someone's like, hey, I took half the day off work to watch this. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Man, yeah. Like, that to me is like, are you like, you want to make a broadcaster feel good, you know, say something like that. Now, don't ever take off work, but, you know, it's just stuff like that, like little stuff like that, I think I don't take for granted at all. This question's for you, Ryan, right from chat. It's from Gabby Lantis. Says, did appearing on live stream fail a few times recently impact your stream in any noticeable way? Let me preface, live stream fail, Ryan, when I've seen Ryan on there, it's not in a like bad way. It's usually in a like obscenely funny way.
So I had like 2 clips go very viral. Like my number one most watched clip, I forget what it was, but for like, I think for years it was like me saying like, I'll become a Satanist if I get a legendary in this Hearthstone pack. And then it was, I got it. Legendary. And then another one was like one of Rob's drawings on the Pintario, which was like super cursed. But then like twice in like June and July, I got a new most viewed clip, and I was wondering why, and it was thanks to being posted on live stream fails. One of them was me getting dunked on by the main character of Deadly Premonition 2 in dialogue, and then the other one was I accidentally spray painted like using the Call of Duty sprays. I accidentally spray painted like the logo of the German secret police from the Second World War, and then immediately was like, and then tried to like cover it up with another spray and couldn't do it. And then I just started running away instead. And I mean, it was funny and everybody took it the right way, which was good. But I honestly don't think it had any kind of like impact in terms of, it must have had some kind of impact in terms of like people discovering me that have never, heard of me before. But mostly it's like, it's nice because live stream fails has kind of a reputation for being like heavily, I don't know if I'd say toxic, but it's like vinegar, you know. It's got a flavor, but also like if you're there all the time, maybe, you know, you're going to start to suffer some consequences. But like, I think because we don't cultivate drama like on purpose, we get, you know, the clips that end up making it there are very rare. And most of the time it's like the clip is just funny. So people in the comments are like, haha, this is funny. So that's basically, I think there was a very negligible impact, but it was honestly nice. Like anytime you see people in chat be like, oh, hello, live stream fails, you're like, oh, what happened? Did I do something I didn't remember doing? But every time I've ever gone there, there's been a couple of weirdos. Like one dude who was like, oh, I didn't even recognize this guy because he went more than 5 seconds without hitting his vape. And I was like, you got me confused with somebody else, but you seem so confident. I can't, I wonder why. But
I did see some of the comments on one on live stream fails that said, hey, like I used to watch this guy play Isaac. Now I'm going to check him out on Twitch. Like I did see a couple like that. Like people recognize you from like Isaac stuff and, you know, maybe weren't so much into Slay the Spire and now they're coming back.
Completely fair.
But I feel like the clips you talk about were all really interesting slivers of what someone would normally see on your show. Maybe not to the extent of like, you know, people laughing in tears, but it's like a good sliver of like, hey, here's what you get by tuning in, which I thought was pretty cool. And then we'll go. We'll take this one because I think maybe, you know, we're both on both different sides of the coin on this one. Last question is from Baby Pigman. It says, what do you guys think about having a second channel specifically for VODs? Is it useful for separating them, or does it split the audience? I have two channels. Ryan has one. I'll let you speak first, and then I'll hit you with mine. Or you want me to go first?
It's complicated. I'm thinking, because I do think I only have one, but that's mostly out of convenience. Because, you know, I like when I was getting bigger on YouTube, the monetization system was much different. So like part of the reason that I kept one channel is because I'm already linked up to the monetization pipeline, right? So I can take stuff from Twitch and put it on YouTube without having to worry about it being you know, going to a channel that doesn't qualify for monetization until it gets, you know, whatever kind of analytics. Nowadays is much easier to do that, but I'm kind of like, I've already got the momentum, or at least like the expectation that they're going to go up on the main channel. And I've kind of, and maybe it's a little bit stubborn, but I also, to some extent, I'm like, I disbelieve in the idea that you can put out too much content as long as the content is good, and even if it's not quote unquote good, even if it's not necessarily super compelling, as long as it's in keeping with the content that you've put out in the past. I think a lot of complaints about clutter strike me as being very minor, and I'm not afraid to, you know, put my own skin in the game, I guess, to test it. And then, I mean, beyond that, I also dislike the possible idea of the connotation that like the Twitch content is not worth watching, or at least is like lesser content than the YouTube content. So I'm going to put it on, you know, the B channel instead of the A channel. But I mean, I do think that there could be a way, a place for it. Like I think you can make it work either way. But I do think back to like the earlier days of YouTube, when it was like, you know, you would have like Tobuscus, and it would be like, okay, Tobuscus skits, Tobuscus games, Tobuscus Minecraft, Tobuscus blah blah, Tobuscus Valve, and it's just like, I think probably two channels that are split down the line of like content made for YouTube, content made on Twitch ported to YouTube doesn't split the audience too much. But obviously, if you segment it to like an absurd degree, then I think it could hurt you pretty bad.
Sorry, I lost you. You said Tobuscus. I was thinking of all the Minecraft songs he made when you were saying. No, so okay, so that makes sense. And then, do you think? I mean, because it's probably the follow-up question. Then I'll hit you with my answer to it. Would you ever start a VOD channel?
I don't think so. I mean, like it's a couple of different questions. I guess what I would ask is like, why would I start a VOD channel? When it comes to like, oh, I want to avoid clutter, I'm like, you've been on the internet a long time. I get that you should make things like more frictionless for the audience, but at the same time, I'm like, you can sit, the thumbnails are color coded to be like, this is a Twitch VOD, this isn't a Twitch VOD. You literally, if you click on the videos button, all the videos posted over the course of like the last, you know, whatever are up there. You know, I've been much more diligent about making playlists than I have in the past. So it's easier for you to find content specifically that you want and content that you don't want to watch. So I think the discovery is like completely fine. And I'm also like on the Twitch channel, I'm like, I don't know if there's any logical like business case where you're like, oh, people that love to watch Deadly Premonition are also going to love to watch you and three other guys play Warzone, are also going to love to watch you solo play Deadly Premonition 2, are also going to love to watch, you know, Golf Track Mania and Quiplash on Mondays. Like, I think that if you're kind of like, if you bought into the brand of me, to put it in the most like self-aggrandizing way possible, you kind of just, you know, I'll put it all out there and you can make your choice. And then secondarily, I'm like, the number of questions that I'm sure I'm going to get if I created a second channel about like, hey, where's Warzone? Where's, you know, the NLSS VODs is going to be like in the thousands. So I think that the way that it works now is totally fine for me.
Yeah. And so and I'm on the flip side, meaning that I have two channels. And when I started the show, really probably about 6 months into starting the show in its current format, I started the second channel. And I did it just to have make it easy for people to watch the VODs, because it wasn't on, you know, Twitch's player is not quite there yet. I think that's fair to say. And, you know, the thing that's great about it is, hey, if you want to watch a VOD, go check this out. And the tough thing about it is that you're now promoting 2 channels, right? So, hey, if you want exclusive stuff, go to youtube.com/DanGheesling. If you want the VODs, go to youtube.com/DanGheesling Plays. It's really like the line is cut, but it's still an additional thing you have to say, which, over time, I don't know if it adds up or not. But the thing I didn't expect was that, the really pound for pound channel 2, which I have zero involvement with, outperforms channel 1.
In terms like in raw
viewership, monetization,
really?
everything. Now, I can't tell you take those 2 years and put those VODs on channel 1. Would it make a difference?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I did it for ease of use for people, and then also I felt like subjectively, with no analytics behind it, flooding one channel with a bunch of stuff, I felt like where I'm at wasn't the way to do it, because I think I'm still building like on YouTube. I need to like niche down so I could do it that way. So I think you're looking at 2 people that, works one way and then works the other way. I'm glad I have it that way. But it's also a little humbling knowing that I put in so much time into channel 1 and channel 2 just murders it in comparison. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoy the podcast, leave a review. We're up to 461 reviews on iTunes. Thank you guys so much. And if you want to watch the video, go to youtube.com/Northernlion. We will be back with another episode for you. Audio, always Tuesday at 6 a.m. And if you want to catch us live, we'll be live Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys next time. Later.